give me the next 10 minutes and I'll change how you think about your anxiety forever. So you can go out into the world and send an email or send a text without literally feeling like you're being chased by a tiger. This is not going to be a breathing video or an affirmation video. And it's also not medical advice on how to cure or help your anxiety. But if you've clicked the video, you feel the pull already, you're here for a reason, just trust that intuition and keep watching. Here's the thing. Everyone around you is probably trying to tell you to fix your anxiety. But really what I think the key is to simply rebrand it. Full stop. I used to wake up with heart palpitations. I used to go to bed with heart palpitations. I remember in university, I wouldn't write notes in class because they definitely weren't going to be good enough. But then I would go home and try to write notes. And I would waste so much paper trying to write the most perfect note document. I don't even know, to be fair, if that is correlated to anxiety or OCD or whatever. Who knows? But it was literally ruining my life. Like little things like that, I would feel anxious just doing normal day-to-day things. Literally shivering, shaking, trembling. And I actually moved throughout most of my life with most people not even knowing this or realizing this. I would say probably most people didn't know how severe it was because I got so good at quote unquote masking it or just moving through life with it just because maybe I was embarrassed. Who frickin' knows? And I didn't really give a fair shot at trying to properly think through maybe what's causing it or how to live with it. And then I think eventually I just started to use vices to numb them, which then makes the problem worse because then you'd probably just get more anxious afterwards. So ultimately, I reached a breaking point in university. I went to the, counselor, therapist on the university campus. I filled out probably like a 3-minute paper questionnaire thing. And they were like, great, you have anxiety. Here's some medication. You can go pick it up and move on with your day. Like nothing, truly, I think anybody could have filled out that paper and got it. But for me, that was a turning point because I started to take that medication. And honestly, it made me feel like a robot. It made me feel numb. It made me hate my life. And I, aside from anxiety, loved my life. I loved waking up and feeling good. So I was like, no way, Jose, I'm not taking this. Quit it cold turkey, never looked back. And I don't say I have anxiety now. I like to use words that are more empowering, even though, you might think that's corny. But for me, that has really, the words that I speak over my life I realize have a profound effect. So I'm very cautious with that stuff. And while I do experience anxiety in my day-to-day life, I've been able to manage it in a way that has helped me do things that I probably could never imagine. I would say for me, a big help with moving through life, experiencing anxiety was not seeing it as a flaw, but seeing it as misdirected energy. So I think oftentimes when you're younger and you experience a little bit of anxiety, that butterfly feeling, that sick feeling in your stomach, you are immediately like anxiety, bad, nervousness, bad, need to numb it down, bad, 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 bad. Whereas you can rebrand that feeling into excitement, for example. I heard this amazing phrase a while back, which has stuck with me, and I love to use in moments like this, where it's like rearrange your butterflies. It's probably not the exact phrase if you've heard it before, but rearrange your butterflies. So when you feel that sickening feeling of the butterflies in your stomach, you rearrange them and you rebrand them, you move them to the direction you want. So let's say you get that feeling before you're about to speak on stage or you're about to get on a call with a client. For me, I'm a freelancer, or I'm about to meet someone new. I tell myself, okay, rearrange the butterflies in my head, and I'm redirecting them to this idea. That feeling is excitement. That feeling is courage. That feeling is power. That feeling is whatever I want it to be. In that moment, I can simply rebrand what those butterflies are. And to me, it makes so much sense because one, you're taking quote unquote control over this feeling that we don't have control over how we're going to feel, but we have control over, I guess, how we perceive how we're feeling, right? So if you want, you can say you're gaslighting yourself. It works. And the reason that this is even more powerful is because your brain is constantly predicting what's going to happen next. And if it predicts something new, it can either be seen as danger or bad or good or not dangerous. And you have the power to make that call and then reinforce what that emotion is towards that. So really what it is not the fact that you're broken, but you just need a little bit more mending. You just need to move around the puzzle pieces a little bit. And that's a constant work in progress. I still do that to this day in many different ways, in many different capacities. But is what has allowed me to live an abundant life where I'm not crippled by these feelings. So yeah, sometimes a client will message me on Slack and I'll think, God damn it, I'm so nervous. Oh my goodness, it literally feels like a lion is chasing me. But I'm like, girl, you're excited to see what the feedback is about this task or deliverable that you just did for them. It probably went really, really well. And if it didn't go really, really well, you're going to learn from it and get even better. It's just redirecting that energy and telling yourself, okay, this is what it is, and this is what the possible outcomes are. You're okay. Ultimately, reality submits to the image you have in your mind. Don't quote me on this, but I'm under the belief that there are different cultures out there that don't have this concept of anxiety. They just simply perceive that feeling or emotion as something different. So that in and of itself should give you enough power to say, okay, well, I can perceive it in the way that I want to as well. It will just take some unlearning or some redirection, some rearranging your butterflies. And let's be real, you cannot fully redirect or have control in redirecting your emotions if you're constantly stimulated and doom scrolling and listening to music and watching all of these things that are consuming your mind, because that doesn't give you enough energy or brain capacity or power to do that. Part of why people often stay stuck in those states is because it requires you to be conscious and to actually see the pattern and then actively interrupt that pattern. It takes energy, it takes work. So if you're constantly clouding your mind and filled with stimulation, it's going to be really difficult to do this. So it all starts with being okay with silence, being okay with your own thoughts, actively making a conscious decision to step away from all the things on our devices and that are happening in the world, and taking time for yourself every day to look inwards, because then that trains that same muscle that's going to help you make those pattern interrupts and rearrange the butterflies in the moments that you need to. And please don't skip this step. I'm being so serious. When you're scrolling on TikTok and Reels and da-da-da-da, you are not supposed to feel 47 different emotions in 5 minutes after seeing someone's cancer story and someone win the lottery, just all these crazy things. I can't imagine how horrible that is, especially for young kids. No wonder you constantly feel anxious, right? So please don't skip that step. It's really important to practice conscious scrolling, conscious time in silent, conscious time in your own presence, because that's going to be the power that allows you to redirect. So when it comes to rewiring, number one, when the spiral starts to happen, reminding yourself, just verbalizing what is happening. This is just my brain trying to protect me. You remind yourself of that. This is my brain trying to protect me. It's confused. I'm going to reinforce what's actually happening and remind myself why this is okay. Your brain can't spin as fast into a spiral if you speak over it. So this has helped me with small things like canceling plans or texting someone back that for some reason it's really scaring me. It allows me to move in my power rather than in fear. And also in bigger things, like when I'm on a sales call with a client as a freelancer sharing my big rates, it allows me to speaking over before the call what I'm doing, why I have the rates I have, all that stuff allows me to move into it with more confidence and feeling more empowered. Another thing is to do the thing on purpose. When you feel that, oof, that scares me, oof, that makes me anxious, go through with it. If you walk, a lot of times what I like to do to test myself as well, I'll be walking and I'll see someone coming towards me and I'll think, I would love to say good morning to them, but that's weird, or I'm scared to do that. And then force myself to just do it. And it's in that small thing. And the next time, maybe you could have a whole conversation. And that's just one example. I'm not really, I wouldn't say a socially anxious person. It's a little bit different than that for me. But in other things, posting a video online, or if you're a freelancer or you're self-employed, raising your prices, raising your rates, doing little increments of things that make you scared, things that make you feel those butterflies will then redirect what those butterflies actually mean. And then it becomes a thrill. Oh, I'm feeling this butterfly. Ugh, this means that it's time to go, right? That has been such a powerful reframe for me. It's basically mini exposure therapy. It allows your body to realize, oh, this was okay. This was safe to do, right? Next thing is studying your patterns, what makes you trigger, probably social media, scrolling, but also people or environments, and then staying away from those or figuring out why they make you feel that way, and then deciding whether it makes sense for you to stay in them, or if maybe you can, push yourself like we just talked about, but in a specific way or in a specific manner. Knowing your patterns, knowing your triggers, and then seeing, okay, what is this? Why is this the way it is? What does this mean? And how can I move forward accordingly? You can't rewire the loops if you're not tracking them. And that's why it's important to be okay with silence and to have those moments where you can think, okay, where did this start? When did that begin? At the end of the day, lay in bed and think about those loops that you had, or think about the trigger moments. Think about those little things that got you to the point where you were like, hey, I can't do this, or panicky, and then use that as a way to think about how you can rewire and redirect it. And then another thing you can do, because of course I can acknowledge that it can be really scary, right? To just do the hard thing. So do the hard thing, do the thing that scares you or makes you feel anxious, and then immediately regulate. So let's say you're so socially anxious and you go on a walk and you say good morning to somebody. Immediately after, go sit down on the bench and journal about how that made you feel. That allows you to show your nervous system that you can do hard things and you're safe after doing the hard thing that makes you anxious. And then that is going to be a big redirect. So again, even in my freelance career, after a big call or did something really big or nerve wracking, I'll treat myself, I'll journal, I'll think about it. It's not just about treating yourself, it's about making yourself feel safe and calm because it creates a pattern in your nervous system. And then lastly, I would say learn how to hold yourself. Regulation is not just in calming your nervous system, but it's also in holding yourself in power, knowing that you don't need outside validation, that you can hold yourself up. Become within yourself the space that you are looking for. And you do that through recognizing your patterns, journaling, being okay with silence, and leaning into sovereignty. Regulated people don't chase peace, they find it within themselves and they actually attract it too. Once I took agency over my anxious emotions, and when I say agency, it's not that you have full control. It's just simply the relationship that you have with the thing, right? That's what agency is, the relationship that you have with the influences or the issues that you have. So when I realized that I have this wiggle room and I took agency, I stopped waiting for permission. I built a multi-six-figure freelance business, which then allowed me also to build structure, which then allowed me to regulate myself more. So I have structure over my life, over my cycle, the way that I live, the people that I spend time with and that I don't spend time with. And it ultimately allowed me to become the woman that doesn't need to seek calm to find calm. I can find it within myself. I know that I can turn that switch on. And if I'm in a moment of panic or having anxious thoughts, I can find that calm within me through doing all of this work consistently over and over again. So it doesn't mean that it goes away forever, but you learn how to rebrand it. You just literally need to believe a new story about what your body is trying to say, feel it, and sit with it. And I promise it will also probably help you go get paid. Bye.